Hey, welcome back to the channel. Have you ever felt like no matter how much you achieve, peace still seems out of reach? In the heart of a bustling city, where the streets buzzed with impatient honks and hurried footsteps, lived a man named Raj, a high-flying corporate executive. He thrived on deadlines, meetings, and back-to-back emails. While his colleagues took coffee breaks, sharing lighthearted laughter, Raj remained glued to his screen, convinced that every idle second was a wasted opportunity. If I don't keep pushing, I'll fall behind, he told himself. But despite the accolades, despite the promotions, a quiet unease clung to him like a shadow. Anxiety whispered in his ear, feeding him endless doubts. What if I fail? What if I miss an opportunity? What if everything I've built crumbles? The thoughts swirled in his mind like an unrelenting storm. One evening, long after the city had begun winding down, Raj sat alone in his dimly lit office, exhaustion pressing against his chest. The weight of his own expectations felt suffocating. Desperate to escape his own thoughts, he grabbed his coat and walked out without knowing where he was headed. His feet carried him away from the steel and glass towers to a small park nearby, a place he hadn't noticed before. The air was crisp, the noise of the city softened by the rustling of leaves. But even here, his mind refused to slow down. His thoughts still raced, until his eyes landed on an old man sitting on a bench, feeding pigeons. There was something different about him. His face, lined with age, held no trace of worry. His eyes twinkled with a quiet peace, as if he had unlocked a secret Raj had spent his whole life searching for. Raj hesitated, but, without quite knowing why, found himself sitting nearby. The old man turned to him with a gentle smile. "Why do you look so troubled, my friend?" Raj exhaled, running a hand through his hair. "I'm always preparing for the future, always chasing the next goal, but no matter how much I achieve, I never feel at peace." The old man nodded as if he had heard these words 100 times before. He didn't respond right away. Instead, he reached into a small bag and handed Raj a steaming cup of tea. "Drink," he said simply. Raj hesitated but took a sip. The warmth spread through him, soothing in a way he hadn't expected. For a moment, the noise in his mind faded into silence. The old man watched him carefully. "How is it?" "It's good," Raj admitted. The old man's lips curled into a knowing smile. "Tell me, while drinking it, were you thinking about your next sip, or did you simply enjoy this one?" Raj blinked. He hadn't even realized it, but for the first time in ages, his mind had been fully present. No racing thoughts, no anxious calculations, just the simple act of enjoying a cup of tea. The old man chuckled and gestured toward the pigeons, pecking at crumbs on the ground. "See them? They don't worry about tomorrow. They don't stress about where their next meal will come from. Yet somehow, they always find what they need." Raj watched the pigeons fluttering around, their tiny feet shuffling as they pecked at scattered crumbs. They looked content, at peace, as if nothing else in the world mattered. But a thought crept into his mind. What if they ran out of food? Would they panic? Would they worry like he did about everything in his life? He turned to the old man beside him and voiced his concern. The old man simply smiled. "Then they will deal with it tomorrow," he said, "but today they are happy." Something in those words settled deep within Raj, stirring something he hadn't felt in a long time. As he walked home that evening, they echoed in his mind. He had spent so much time planning, worrying, chasing, always thinking about what came next, never truly living in the present. The next day, he made a small change. Instead of eating at his desk, he joined his colleagues for lunch, sharing laughter over stories that had nothing to do with work. He called his wife in the middle of the day, just to hear her voice. That evening, he stood by his office window and watched the sky burst into colors as the sun dipped below the horizon. And for the first time in years, he felt something different. He felt alive. A few days later, he returned to the park, eager to see the old man again, to thank him for the wisdom that had unknowingly shifted his world. But the bench was empty. The only ones there were the pigeons, pecking away without a care. He sighed, about to leave, when something caught his eye. A small note tucked under the bench. With hesitant hands, he unfolded it, and as he read the words, his heart pounded. Life is not about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. The present is all that truly exists. Cherish it. Raj smiled, holding the note close. The future was uncertain, as it always had been. But for the first time, that didn't scare him. He had spent so long chasing happiness, thinking it was waiting for him somewhere in the distance, tied to a promotion, a milestone, a goal. But now he understood. Happiness wasn't some prize at the end of the race. It had always been here, in the laughter over lunch, in the warmth of a voice on the other end of the phone, in the colors of a setting sun. Success mattered, yes. Hard work mattered, but not at the cost of life itself. True fulfillment wasn't found in the future. It was hidden in the little moments along the way. And at last, Raj was ready to live.